Welcome to Nerds Amalgamated, a podcast that covers the latest events in science, pop culture, and gaming.
I'm the professor, aspiring game developer, sci-fi aficionado, and completely and undeniably a geek trying to take over the world. I'll be breaking down the news from tech to gaming.
I am the DJ, a humble nerd, a big weeb,
and a watcher from the halls of the multiverse.
Just kidding. Anyways, I'll be breaking down all things comics to movies to anime.
Join us and stay hydrated as we quench you with witty banter, unintentionally hilarious hot takes, and trivia more fun than a night at the pub, courtesy of Nerds Amalgamated.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Nerds Amalgamated. I am the DJ, and with me today we have Isaac Fox coming back for another episode. Hey!
Oh, how are you?
Not too bad, sir. How are ya?
I'm okay for today. Today's been rough, but other than that, we're fine.
Yeah, you came back with a new project this time, the Manti-Corps.
Yeah, so we've been working on it for a couple of years actually. Wasn't sure how it was going to go. It's done better than expected, not as good as hoped, but Bezos could drop $1 billion on it and it still wouldn't be as good as hoped. So that doesn't really mean a whole lot. We're pleased with its response so far. There will be an additional freebie that's being worked on now that everyone's going to get as a thank you for the reception being so warm. Didn't expect that.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. Like, you put the goal at Australian dollars 4,000, a goal of $4,000, and it's now reached up to 30K. That's amazing.
That number sounds so much better until we translate it to USD, and that's not quite as amazing. But yes, it's above where our last couple ones have gotten. We've definitely noticed a slowdown in the last about year and a half, two. Not just us, but a lot of creators have been commenting on that. And we do conventions, and I always make it a point to go around and talk to the vendors because they do this stuff. They go to shows professionally, and even they're like, "Yeah, sales have been down for like 2." Like,
Yeah.
okay, so it's not just it's everybody.
Yeah. So, how did this idea came about?
Well, SuccuBUSTED did really well. That's still our most popular series, and we have not been able to beat issue number 10 sales record yet. We've tried, but we can't do it. So that got us thinking about the nature of the kind of content it is that I make. We did a variety of things for genres. We pin-up books, space westerns, more dark kind of serious things, and SuccuBUSTED being an ecchi comedy. So we spent a lot of time sitting down, as you guys see in the server. Azumi sits down, talks to people, asks them what to see, what do you enjoy. We get a better feel of who it is we're working with. Strongly believe that my job is to entertain people. How can you really entertain somebody if you don't respect them enough to get to know them? But we spent the last couple of years doing just that. And Manti-Corps has been worked on for the last probably 3 years. We've been working on this book very slowly. It wasn't the main project, so it wasn't getting the main attention. It's like SuccuBUSTED or the active series get it. Well, now, but at the time it wasn't. We wanted to do something that fit into that ecchi genre still. It has some fan service, so it can still be fun. And when Cremisi was originally written, when I first worked on my debut series, the artist I worked with realized that a lot of my side characters were female. I didn't mean for that to be just one guy and a bunch of women. It wasn't a harem series, never designed to be that. Well, okay, we'll go back and we'll fix it. He said, well, what if I had a series where almost the entire cast is female? I think that'd be fun. So we went from that idea, combined with SuccuBUSTED, and I've always been a big fan of fantasy universes. One of my favorites was the Warhammer's Fantasy. I know it's not as popular as 40K, but their fantasy universe I always enjoyed. Very over the top, very silly. I wanted to do something kind of like that, but at the same time, I wanted to do what I refer to as like My Lady Death, a story that I can kind of go with, and we can have fun with and tell stories with. It doesn't require a 100-issue backlog like a la X-Men, something like that. And the idea was, well, let's make a fantasy story. Let's use some D&D style inspired rules. Tanks, healers that exist, stats, passives, all that kind of stuff exists. I don't want to do an isekai because everybody and their dog does an isekai now. That page of isekai is very long. And figured, well, I also happen to, I guess there was amateur historian. I'm very boring in real life. I just watch historical documentaries all day. Well, I want to do something that has a war setting to it, but I don't want it to be some hardcore Tom Clancy style piece of literature. And everybody always defaults to World War II as the war they're inspired their stuff after, right? Well, let's do World War I era tech. That's more interesting to me, I think. So we went with that, create a universe where we have an entire world at war. We sat down, I think I probably spent the last couple of years going through character sheets and designing different species we can run into, different factions, how this is going to work, how does that work? And it's been much more in-depth than my other series have been as far as what the research and work required. Whereas Cremisi, it's like, oh, it's just technology, so it's me anything. Well, okay, but does a dwarf gun work like a human gun? Do other factions use guns? Why don't they? How do you take all this into account? Took a lot of inspiration, weirdly enough, from like interspecies reviewers, which goes heavily into that differences in species can cause various changes in reaction to maybe a character puts off so much heat passively that as a human we can't possibly touch them.
Nah,
Interesting kind
yeah.
of facets like that. So we built the universe from that, and in a lot of ways, Manti-Corps is designed to be love letter to our readers. It's built entirely from the ground up on the feedback they gave us, using the things they would like, and ensuring that our cast is diverse enough that anybody can pick a favorite and enjoy their favorite lady and have fun with. Because at the end of the
Uh,
day, comics supposed to be fun.
yeah, yeah. And I like the fact that you've got the background that all completely green. Just to
Thank you.
highlight the theme. It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
we take our branding pretty seriously. We're small. I mean, we're a small business, sure, but we can't take our branding seriously.
So, in terms of feedback, how did you discern like which one was the proper feedback and which one was like, this feedback, this is not good feedback. What the hell is this type of feedback? Like, how did you discern that? Discern it?
You kind of learn how to pick people who are just hateful versus those who are critical. Critical is fine. It's not fun, but it's best way I can word it is you're not going to sharpen a knife on a on a soft piece of wood. You need something hard and grindy to sharpen you up, and that's kind of what the critics are.
Hmm.
But there's a difference between critics and people who are just legitimately hateful. We don't really run into a lot of the hateful one. An advantage of being that we are right at the size, like middle, the golden middle ground between being big enough to garner a ton of hateful people and small enough to still have a fandom that allows us to continue our job. It's a delicate balance where as soon as anybody gets really big, you can go look at like really big comic creators or YouTubers or game developers, whomever, and there's no shortage of forums who are just very negative towards them. And it's not always critical things like, oh, I think this person's stupid for this, or this was dumb, or I think this character's stupid. You explain why? No, you can't. Okay, that's not valid criticism. That's just emotion. So that's kind of where you learn to figure out like who's giving you a thing, who's giving you not, who's giving you BS. You also look for trends and what they're saying. And you'll get some people say, "Oh, I don't like this idea. I don't like this idea." Like we've had some people, some of our usual say, "I don't know if I like a war story." Like that's perfect, great. You're gonna like this. 'Cause the war is just the idea to send in a D&D campaign. You don't have to worry about that very much. We're not going into the extreme facets of military ranking and how all these various platoons and formations would work. We're not really doing that. And part of the characters we've chosen are, the trope is to always use misfits for your whatever you're doing. And we have that, but part of the hope here is that these misfits not being very good is that we don't have to make things super hardcore military because they're not good enough to know that anyways.
Yeah,
If
what's
that helps.
fascinating when it comes to the when it comes to like when anime covers like war stuff, there will always be like cool steampunk weapons to cover it and
For
or
the most part.
like yeah, and most there will also be animes that also cover war like Girls und Panzer or Strike Witches for example. You've got a mix of the both if I recall correctly.
We do. And you're right. Anime when it does war, it tends to focus on fantasy. It does. I'm not aware of any anime that's war history outside of like Barefoot Gen or Grave of the Fireflies, which I don't know if I'd call that a war story because of the war, but I'm not. No, it's not a frontline war story. Put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any anime that's a factual military frontline anime. From in a modern era, there's Sengoku period ones that do that for sure.
Hmm.
Uh, there may be some I just don't know them. I know like Evil Tanya, which is kind of a World War I esque kind of thing with magic going on and a bunch of other stuff. Or Gate, and thus that JSDF fought, which is personally one of my favorites and inspiration for this. But they're fighting guys on horseback with modern day tanks. Like this isn't really a
Oh yeah.
fight. This is just a slaughter.
So
You have F-22s and the other side has archers. That's not gonna be a fight.
that's just a massacre at this point.
That's essentially what it becomes. Uh,
You know,
so
season
that
2 is coming out soon for Gate, right?
I've heard rumors. I don't know if it's actually coming out. I look forward to it. I know people dump on that series a lot. Like, look, that's just a safe, relaxing series because none of the main characters are ever in any danger.
Yeah,
So instead of worrying about their health, a la Akame ga Kill, I can just kind of enjoy seeing these characters do things.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
a series like Akame ga Kill, which is fantastic, but don't ever get attached to any character. I don't care who they are. Don't get
No.
attached to that character. Just know it's going to be bad. The more you like them, the worse it's going to be.
Yeah, yeah. That's like a
So
general rule in anime watching.
pretty much. Part of it was I'd never seen anybody do a high fantasy World War I universe. I've not seen that anywhere. I've seen, like I mentioned, the Warhammer Fantasy Universe. Their stuff definitely has like some World War One-esque technology that's in there because their technology is all over the place. But a lot of it's more like colonial era muskets and steam tech. It's like, well, I've never seen anybody do this before, so why don't we try to do something that's a little bit different? They taught us in writing school there's no such thing as a new idea. 'Cause everything by now has been thought of. Like somebody's people who are paid long before I was even born, paid to think of everything.
Yeah,
But
on that topic of no new ideas,
Mhm.
there's Trench Crusade, which is basically what if the Crusades lasted until World War One, and World War
That's what
One was
that
a
is.
fight against demons.
I've seen YouTube videos that pop up at me. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I thought it was a variation from Warhammer, and forgive me for not knowing. I'm terribly behind on many things.
Oh, that
That's
must be fun.
definitely go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was gonna say that must have been fun. What had the is the story still ongoing, Professor, or is it ended?
I don't actually know. I just saw one YouTube video about
Yeah,
it, and
that's what I
it's
had.
stuck in the back of my head. It's something I want to look into.
Oh,
It's the
cool.
same. That's exactly what YouTube and its amazing algorithm just seeks out certain things and sent me. I just see shorts about it. I don't know what this is, but okay. Some of the designs look pretty metal. Like, all right, that's a looking monster. For as far as Manticore goes, I've never seen anybody do that before. So I wanted to combine that with things that I do know, like video game RPG elements, and allow things to take their natural edgy progression. A grenade exploded, but for whatever reason, all that was destroyed was her shirt. Sure, why not? That's fine. We're here to have fun, let it be fun. That being said, this is a war.
Hmm.
There are some missions that don't have happy endings. Things do go awry and people will die. This is combat.
So, so how does the story begin in terms of the comic story for Manticore? So it's just a soldier in infantry, if I recall correctly, or
Kind of. Again, take a lot of information from War One, whereas what we had in that, we just everything ground to a halt.
hmm.
Nobody knew what nobody could move the front lines because they didn't know all this new technology, things were different, war adapted, yada yada yada. We've had that happen in this universe now, where everybody's kind of fighting, but there's always this idea, right? When we go to like a Tolkien-esque universe where everybody's just like, oh, the dwarves are our friends, these are our friends. Have you met people before? The people who write these things? Like, I'm not putting Tolkien down, he's a genius, I'm not saying him, but just in general, like, yeah, people like I don't feel like we would trust other sentient races, and they wouldn't trust us. And that's kind of where I went from there. I was like, okay, everybody's in a war a war, and you're allied by necessity or secret alliance or what have you, but you're not helping each other because you don't really like, but you're agreeing to be on the same side because you're preferable to the guy shooting at me. So nobody's really helping. That has led to this war stalling out entirely. It's a stalemate across all fronts. So we have a young intelligence officer that you'll see in this issue. You don't know much about her yet, who decides, what if I put together a mixed species squad? Because we look at an example like the elves and the goblins have been fighting for forever. Well, they know how to fight each other by now. They've already figured each other out. One of the lessons of Sun Tzu, if you guys have ever read Art of War, which is a fantastic, I'm never pronouncing that right, fantastic book. Never fight the same opponent so many times. You teach them all your tricks. Well, that's what's happened. So they said, well, if goblins are fighting elves and they know how to fight them, can they fight an Oni? Because in this universe, Oni's skin is almost impenetrable. Do they have a weapon that can hurt them?
Yeah.
So the idea is to throw a mixed squad in different theaters and basically be shock troops. The enemy won't know how to deal with them. Uh, Now, unfortunately, that's what they want to do, but there's such a thing as budget, approval, and the people you get, are they qualified for the job? And the answer is no. None of these people are qualified. That's becomes the humor of it. Is you'll see in issue 0 how everybody gets selected for this new squad, and it's very obvious that the officer looking for to form this is looking for people who are really good. And the people she gets are kind of there by happenstance. They got lucky, or they got and maybe one or two got drafted or kicked out of where they were before. This is not a squad of elite, super tough badasses. This is almost more of a Vox Machina-esque mishmash of people who have their own individual stories and goals to go through, like a D&D campaign. It's just that the excuse for the campaign is the war.
Ah, so how do you determine the story direction for the Manticore in an essence? Did you manage I know you said it's a D&D kind D&D themed story. So I was just wondering, did you roll a D20 and just go, okay, this is what this is one character's going to do this and one character's going to do that and this character's going to do that and this character's going to do this.
Sort of. I learned from Hirohiko Araki of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to create these characters. So we go through those and I create those. And these sheets tell you everything about a character from their favorite flavors to which hand they use, everything I can possibly need to know about that character to ever come up. So we go sit down and look at those. Okay, this is this character. And then I spend a while figuring out what their backstory is going to be. Where are they from? Who are they as an individual? Part of the idea of the story of this, if you guys ever seen Cowboy Bebop, is
Oh
what
yeah.
Bebop is a very episodic series, but it peppers in hints of the story of the main characters as you go. That being said, if you miss an episode or two, you're fine. You can still watch it and enjoy it. That was the idea behind these characters is as their missions go on, we pepper in little hints about what's going on with them and who they really are. I'll give you one of the missions coming up is that Sally, who's our demi-human healer, notices that Desba, who's our human mage officer, doesn't healing magic doesn't affect her like it does everybody else. It works different. And so one little note is like, why would healing magic work on this one person differently? What is that? What's different about them that would cause that? Small little hints like that up until they'll get a story mission essentially. Yeah. Sorry.
How many character sheets have you made so far for this? You must have like a Bible.
Well, I make it for the main cast, so there's one for each of the four main characters. And one thing this series does do is it has rules. It's kind of how it took inspiration from how there were rules about riding Wile E. Coyote, about what he was allowed to do and not to do when it came to Roadrunner.
Yeah.
Like, well, one of the rules of the Manti-Corps is that they're not allowed to win by being that good. They can never just outskill the opponent. They can't just go into a fight and win because, oh, you were just strong, you had a better power level, or you had this secret technique. No, that's not going to happen here. You're going to win by happenstance or something stupid, or the idea you had is so insane that no one would ever think to do that. With the exception of one of the squad members, who Shiho, our big Oni girl, she's allowed to win by being that good. But the caveat to that is that she actively hates being in the service and has no desire to be there. Kind of that thing of being good at something you hate is kind of a curse that she has to deal with. She's very good at being a soldier, and she absolutely despises being a soldier. So the idea is that if, like, say hypothetically speaking, if they have to take down a machine gun nest, well, what was the normal way to do that? We're not going to do that. We're not going to do this smart. We're not going to call in artillery. We're not going to use magic. And we're not going to try to sneak around. We're going to do something stupid, but it's going to be so stupid, the enemy's going to be convinced that there's no way we're trying this because it's too stupid, and therefore it works.
I can totally imagine. So on the front of your comics, you should just type a forward, say, "Please do not try this at home, kids. If you're trying this at home, you're gonna get hurt."
Oh, I have some friends who are in the room that I regularly ask them certain small questions about, like, how would you do this? How would you do this? Things that I'm not totally familiar with. But then when I talk about a situation, oh, if we're you want to do this? You want to, like, blow up this objective? You do, no, don't tell me. They don't want them to know how to do that right. I don't want to subconsciously write this correctly. I want them to do it in a stupid way that somehow works. They have to blow up a bridge? Cool. Well, they cause something else that happened. Something else happens to cause it to complete. And it may not even be because of them. Little things like that. If they fight a dragon, which may or may not be upcoming, who says they can a dragon? Why would they be able to beat a dragon? I don't know how you fight a dragon. That makes no sense to me how you'd actually fight a dragon on foot. But maybe they have to, and maybe they win because something stupid happens, or they get lucky. Something like that has to happen. It's kind of not Deus Ex Machina. I don't want to do that, where it's like, oh no, Goku just showed up. Well, that kind of solves all the problems, doesn't it? It
I
has to
c-
be sensible to the situation.
I kind of
I
thought
also
about
don't want.
that, by the way. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you can
I
please
thought
continue.
I kind of thought that way when you were saying like, oh yeah, so it's gonna be something dumb and stupid. So my brain automatically assumed it's gonna be Deus Ex Machina, but the way you said it was like, oh okay, yeah.
No,
So it's not
no,
a
don't do
Deus
that.
Ex Machina,
Something
yeah.
that exists, but it's circumstantial. Like none of the characters have to be in this universe. You guys know the Fable series, how hero is a type of person. Like it doesn't mean like it's not a title; it's a type of. In this universe, there are people who are called true heroes. True heroes are people who are blessed by the gods to just be that good. It's
Hmm.
granted natural highest stats of the thing. When we run into those individuals and see them fight, like, oh wow, why isn't the story about them? They're really good. They can just walk through like armies of people. Like the story would be boring if it was about them because they would just win all the time.
Yeah.
They would just walk through everybody. But instead of them being able to do that, how can this squad do it? But at the same time, it has to be somewhat sexy and stupid as it goes along the way. Because at the end of the day, this is an etchy story, so we do have characters who are very interested in adult activities.
Ah.
Taking the
How?
mindset of, have you ever seen like Inuyasha? Like, I'll use that as an example. I love Inuyasha.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of episodes. Yeah, yeah.
Inuyasha takes a standpoint that I know why it does it. I'm not putting it down for that, but it's not a thing that I resonate with. Of hey, I could die tomorrow, but the person I like is right next to me. I guess I'm just not gonna say anything. You can be dead in 24 hours from a demon or something like that. Why would you not just go ahead and do it? I don't get it. So in this case, Manti-Corps has two of its squad members are very much horn dogs who have that mentality of like, hey, this is a war. I could die tomorrow. You guys ever slept with a goblin? Because I haven't. Let's try it. Things like that will go as the mission goes on, as it goes on. And I do want to say that something I tried to do in this book is show that not every faction is universally. I want it to be pseudo-realistic in terms of personality and characterization. So you have factions that are on the other side, but it doesn't mean they're evil. Maybe their leader sucks. Maybe there's a misunderstanding. We don't know. It's on a case by case basis.
Yeah, but then the problem is like, do you ever get the feeling like when you see modern media doing that sort of thing, like they always try and humanize the opponent, the other side, in terms of like, I remember the Rings of Power, for example. They try and build a whole, oh, think of my orc wife and kids, and
They've been doing that in anime now for too long, where every villain in the last like 10 years gets this long flashback about how we're supposed to feel sorry for them. You know what? Give me Frieza again. Because Frieza's
yeah,
evil and Frieza loves it. He just loves being evil. You can have those characters, and those characters will exist. It's just that I don't believe that it applies to a blanket population. I'll use World War One for an example. The average guy in the trench on the British side and the average guy in the trench on the German side probably would be friends in another different situation. They probably both want to go home, see their families, have a big dinner, and go to bed. But we're forced to fight each other anyways because somebody in that chain at the top is an evil jerkwad that we have to. Neither one of us has the authority to deal with that person, and that's sometimes what happens here. I'll use an example: as the first mission we're going to go on after this is against the goblins. When you meet the Goblin Resistance, because the goblins used to be cool until they had a queen who took over, who's a total totalitarian fascist monster, and now she's just using everything she can to cling to power and force them to continue this fight.
Hmm.
Okay, some goblins are nice. Some of them are actually pretty reasonable, normal people, but they have a couple of leaders who are bad. And our quote unquote, the faction we're on, being the Southeastern Entente, they've got people who are bad too. I took a lot of inspiration from the original Gundam series, where you had people on both sides of the 1 Year War who were legitimately fantastic people and really would who you want in charge. Unfortunately, they're not the ones in charge, and the ones who are pretty wicked, including a guy who says, "Father, I will harness the power of this Hitler," is an actual line in the original Gundam. I'm not making this
really?
up. It's
Oh,
or
damn.
OG 1 Year War Gundam from 1979. Yeah, there's literally a part where one of the main villains says that when his father tells him who Hitler was.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so it's like, but you have that, but then at the same time, we meet officers in that 1 Year War who's on that same faction who are honorable, upstanding people. So I kind of wanted to mix that in, but at the same time allowing us, you have to have villains that are hateable. You have to let villains be villains.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have that guy who's like, I cannot wait to go out and just murder a bunch of kids today. I just can't wait to do it. You have to have that guy for a
Yeah.
story, not in real lith, preferably no. I'm not endorsing that in reality.
Nope, nope, we're not endorsing that at all. So with the with the story, I was gonna say, how many factions are there in this story? Just for
Countless, countless.
cat
This
cat.
so this book was built from the ground up to be a story that can go kind of tell missions indefinitely, where
Mm,
it's always something they can go do. That not to say that's going to be to death like a dead horse. I don't want to do that. But the beauty of having a giant fantasy world of so many different races and factions and things going on is that we can have a lot of fun in that world. We can see different places, we can adventure in different areas. We can go to a dungeon and try to rescue an ancient treasure from there. We can go deal with a witch terrorizing a village who's not part of the war. But because the Manticore is not taken seriously by command at all for a at least as far as right now is concerned, they may be sent to do the jobs they don't feel like sending anybody else to do. Like, oh, there's supposedly this village says they have problems with a necromancer. They don't have necromancers in that country. Hey, send them because then they'll shut up and whatever. We don't need them anyways. It's kind of like it's essentially that idea.
How do you balance with your comic book being an etchy like war story as well? How do you balance the war and the etchiness? Like it must be very hard to juggle those two in a manner of speaking.
The way this story is going to work after issue zero is by itself, and it tells everybody gets selected for. Once it's done, we have the story gets told in 2 issue long missions. Those missions are self-contained. Now, they may be some things that carry over, like, oh, I found this like this ancient bow in this one mission, so you'll see that again moving forward in the story.
Yeah,
But you don't have to go back and reread a bunch of things to catch up. You can just hop in and have fun. Uh, I'm sorry, the cat is attacking my leg. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
He just ran off. Uh, it's not terribly hard to balance it in the sense that I base it upon the mission they're going into. Some missions are more lighthearted, some are darker. But at the same time, you kind of develop, that's why you develop those character sheets and those rule sets, like who's going to allow themselves to behave in certain. If a character walks out who's very attractive, who on this squad is going to be like, okay, how do I get them in? Well, not everybody on the squad's going to be like that. Like Chiho, our only girl, she's married, happily married. She's not going to be thinking about that. That's not what she wants to do. But Cena or Sally, being massive horn dogs, will start contemplating that. You have to figure out, it's kind of like a read the room moment, case by case. Like if a character is dying, like someone majorly we've met that we very much like let's say like from an Alchemist, like a Hughes character is dying. I'm not going to show fan service happening the next panel. That's we're taking that pendulum back to the extremes both sides. We can't do that. You have to have the mood for that moment. We can have things that are ecchi that a bad thing happens. Kind of like I think some series that did a good job, like Tenchi Muyo did some of that. They fought some of them, which wasn't a super ecchi series, more of a classy, a little more classy on the harem anime front. But you had moments that would just be randomly silly, and they would go back into it. We've seen some modern series do that, like Demon Slayer definitely has moments where the characters get really silly and like go to chibi animation for a moment while fighting a big bad. And I think they've handled it.
Yeah.
I think that's been handled pretty well by some of the more modern series.
Yeah.
So we've kind of tried to emulate that a bit, make sure that we maintain a tone. And we do go back and edit and make sure that's right. Issue 0, for example, when we put it together, we had it ready 2 months ago, put the PDF together. And I was reading it and I realized that going from one character's chapter, because each chapter is a different art and colorist combo, to the next one immediately is super jarring. It's not a pleasant feeling as a reader. Well, okay, let's take a book from the let's take a page out of the manga book here and give each chapter a introductory page that's artwork of that character that says, hey, this is the credits for that chapter, and you're going into a new chapter. And did that, and now it doesn't feel jarring to read. For that sudden change on you. It'd be almost like if you're watching, let's say, a Batman animated movie, and it's in the Bruce Timm style, and then halfway through the fight, for whatever reason, it changes back to the Justice Friend style from the 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
That would be really jarring, and it wouldn't.
Mm.
Almost like if you guys played when they remade Halo. Imagine if you could push a button to change it from the classic graphics to the modern. So imagine just doing that on its own randomly. It would a horrible experience, and that's what we found that we want to avoid. So we've done things to fix that. What? Sorry, cat.
That's okay. Ah, okay, okay. So, how many artists are involved in this project? It's
A
two,
lot.
if I recall. A lot.
No, this one's a lot. Issue 0 has, for internal artists, it's got two of our people. It's got Krius and Akane, who did their own chapters fully by themselves. The first chapter was drawn by Aldi Fazan and colored by Nox Kuro. Then one of them was drawn by Mitsu Blinger, who's now retired from working with comics with us. And it was then colored by the Zong Bros, who are, I mean, I don't think you can go to a comic case without seeing the Zong Bros on it. They're very, very, very skilled. And then the final chapter was all Mitsu Blinger drawing and coloring. So it was a myriad of individuals, and that's not including the cover artist, with another long list of names.
Okay, okay.
The series itself, though, when we go to the actual missions, the idea is that each mission is a different art, is that same, preferably the two issues are the same artist and colorist. The first one will have, the first mission we send them on is called the Goblin's Trap, and the first issue of that is being done by Akane, with the second being done by Krius, but both are being colored by the same color.
Okay. So you're the primary writer for this whole thing. Have you had
I'm the
moments
only
with
one.
your have you had moments with your with the colorists and stuff going like, "Hey, this artwork is not going to work." Have you had moments like that with fork in the road
You always have
moments?
that. You always have moments where you always have to make edits. Some more than others, but that's not necessarily. It's difficult to translate what's in your brain to a page for someone else to. It becomes more difficult when you work with most of our team. English is their second language or third
Mm.
language, so they're reading a script in a language that's not their native one on a concept and universe that they mentally can't see because I can't project my brain into them. I can give them the description. For the most part, it's not that difficult, actually. I write the scripts out, they go through it, and they give me the line art. I go through it, and hey, change this needs worked on, this. And then once they're done with that, they give me a finished version of it. We go through it. When all the pages are done, we go through all of them again with my editors, myself included. And we go, hey, this needs changed. This can be worked out. This can be moved a little bit. This can be fixed. This character needs a bigger butt. This character's boobs are too big in this panel. And these are literally things these things that happen. I won't say the name of the artist, but there are times when you have to kind of sit down, have to schedule a call with them to set up things. We worked with one artist who, when we had a character firing a shotgun, this artist had the shotgun firing bullets that were still in their casing.
Oh.
Okay, you're from a country that doesn't have guns. Most of my readers are American. They will see this and immediately burn this book. We can't do that. Let me explain to you how a shotgun works. When certain artists have worked on things for Cremisi. They've drawn the revolvers very strange. And luckily, thank God for cosplayers that go on and 3D print stuff on YouTube and show how they do it, because I found people who've made like not working but mechanically working models of revolvers that they make for cosplay through a 3D printer, but each part's a different color. Like, hey, this shows how every single thing on this works with so you can tell which is moving because they're all different colored. And we work together to make sure it works well. At the end of the day, a comic is a team project, unless you're one of those people who's gifted at writing and art and everything else, which I'm not. I can do one thing. I just do writing. But we work together as a team to create a project that looks good. That being said, I do listen to my team if they have concerns. There's times when they'll approach and say, hey, this panel, I think it would look better if I had been doing this from this angle. Okay, yeah, I think you're right. It's a good call. I actively encourage them to tell me if they think something doesn't fit right or they think they could change it to be better. I always tell them to do that because I myself am not an artist. I don't have the end all be all answer, but I can listen to the people who know better than I do, and we can work together to create a product that is visually stunning and hopefully the writing's enjoyable.
Cool, cool, cool.
And I've been doing this now for going on 12 years, and I've been in professional entertainment for over 15. It's been a little while. You develop a system after that
Yeah,
time.
yeah. With the comic itself, you must have had a lot of creative blocks as well along the way
I've
while
never
trying to.
had that problem.
You never
I'm
had
not
that
trying to
problem?
I'm not trying to sound like a braggart. Please forgive me if anybody thinks I'm trying to sound like that. I've never had writer's block or creative block in my life. It's the blocks I run into
Yeah.
are when I'm trying to get a scene to do a certain thing and I have to sit down for a while and just kind of play it out in my head over and over again to get it to go the way I want it to go. But as far as like, oh, where do I send them this time? Or what's this monster's power? Like, no, that never happens. It's the opposite where I have way too many ideas and things I want to do at once to where there's already two other stories that haven't been announced that I'm actively trying to get put together. It's like there's so many things I want to do, and I can think of all of these things, not because I'm crazy. It's because I'm crazy. That's the only reason. Nobody
It's
sane ever wrote anything entertaining, so you have to be crazy if you want to do this.
what I find interesting with the Manticore because it's an interesting shift from your usual stuff, like with Cremisi, because it explores the PTSD element and how people
Oh, that's going
deal
to
with
show up.
that shows up in this one as well.
We are fighting a war.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Everybody's going to be traumatized by the end of. So one thing I'll say about I should say about Manticore. This story is 100% told in past tense. What we are getting is the dark elf girl you'll see on the page, Cena, our lovely specialist Cena Springwood. She's telling the story of what happened. And part of her point that you'll see in issue 0 is that the bards sing about the Manticore now. We're famous. People love us. They sing tales about us. And those stories aren't really that accurate. They make us. Her point is that they make them sound like these, Herculean epic adventurers of all these power and great conquest. Like that's not what happened. I've heard for you guys, I've heard a comparable thing to a colleague of mine who was in the Australian military. Said that growing up, you hear about the legends that about the Anzac forces, and you go in, you realize this is not that at all. Yeah, that sounds like us over here when we join the service. We're told a bunch of things like, oh, you join, like, oh, this is not what I thought I'd be doing. It's the same thing where people are going to say, "Oh, how heroic you were," and the Manticore did all these great things. But it's Cena coming in saying, "Hey, we saw people die, and I couldn't sleep in a bed for 6 months after that." Like things like that she talks about that these characters will go through. It doesn't mean it's always doom and gloom, but that PTSD darker element absolutely is there, where we have characters that are a lot more complicated than just fan service characters. Sally has a whole deep past story behind them that we're going to figure out. Shiho's a draftee, so obviously she does not want to be there. Why does healing not work right on Desba? Cena just wants adventure and is now realizing that adventure comes at a very high cost. So it's we didn't remove that element. This is a combination of everything I've learned in the comic industry in the last 12 years. Now, it's a little difficult, of course, to balance those things, but we can have things that are fun and then have things that are serious. To go back to Interspecies Reviewers, it has an episode that will, or I think it's the manga actually, that will have you in tears because it's beautifully wholesome. Like, serious about banging fantasy race girls. What the heck is this doing making me cry? Things like that come into play. Have you ever seen Space Dandy by chance?
Uh, I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I haven't seen it in
It's
its
really good.
entirety.
It's ultimately that series is about a guy trying to earn enough money to go to a restaurant called Boobies over and over again. But every now and then, the writer for that series comes in and hits you with some really serious, like, content to remind you, hey, I know what I'm doing. And I think that it was handled perfectly. You had these moments of a very cheesy main character who embraces the cheese, but then but is able to step back for a minute and feel like a relatable guy, like a relatable person, like another human. And I've always really enjoyed that with characters because none of us are just one thing all the time. I don't think any of us walk around just cold, straight faced, elder Toguro or younger Toguro all day. I don't think that's any of us that do that. You
Nah.
have moments where you laugh and you're having fun. You have moments where you're serious. You have moments where you're unreasonable and you're angry. We all go through these things, and that's okay. The Manticore's characters were written to be round and to experience this array of emotions situations they're going into.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. True. The fun side, that's interesting. You mentioned how it's there'll be a nuance that you're adding nuance into the into the story, but that's gonna be like I said, it's gonna be interesting putting it into a wartime element because you don't really see much nuance in war stories, do you?
Well, that's kind of part of the fun of making it with the war as the premise of the adventure. We're sending them out to do things, but they're not really a frontline group, so we're not going to be sending them up, not really going to send them into no man's land like that, like the traditional. At the
Mm.
same time, this is not Call of Duty where they're the Black Ops team going behind enemy lines to blow up a dam. They're not. You wouldn't send them to do that. You'd send somebody who could probably be competent. The missions they're sent on, they're not supposed to. They're not expected to have anything happen because they're never something that this faction, Southeastern Entente, wanted. It's that they had one intelligence officer who has a Nepo connection that keeps crying about it. So finally, you said, "Here, fine, take like four people and go away, and we'll just give you some things to do that we don't care about." Which results in non-military kind of missions. They may go to a village and have to deal with a necromancer terrorizing the village. They may have to go to an ancient dungeon to find what they're told is a artifact of great power. Maybe it's a sex toy. You never know what you're going to run into. That's part of
so
the
it's the
point.
suicide. So it's the Suicide Squad.
A little bit of you know what? Yeah, I never thought about that, but yeah, kind of like that. A little, very much similar to I guess James Gunn's version of Suicide Squad, where it's very quirky and very zany and silly and very horny at the same time, because that's what that show was. Uh, yeah, that's a good comparison actually. The war just gives us a premise to send them out to do things,
Mm.
as opposed to a party just going out to earn money, which is the trope of a D&D party. We're always broke. We're trying to get money. It's, hey, you do have a job, but your job sucks, and we don't expect you to actually do anything. You just go to this. Hey, we heard that there's the enemy is building this weapon someplace. Go look into it. Are they building it? No, they're not building a weapon. We just want them to go away. And well, they actually found something. What do you mean they found a weapon? Yeah, they actually found it. Or there may be as the series goes on, we may see more of the back end things going on in the war and what's really happening and who's pulling the strings. And maybe they're sent on missions where they're not supposed to, because they don't want them. So you ask. Part of the
Huh,
fun of the series is that the door is very wide for what I can.
oh yeah, yeah.
Cremisi has a set beginning and end. SuccuBUSTED had a set beginning and end, though it is getting a second arc because it's so popular. Manticore does have things we want to. It has stories I want to tell. Is the difference. Where I want to tell tales about where these characters come from, how this universe works, why are the gods doing what they do, various things like that I can actually get into and have fun with, and let the reader have fun. At the end of the day, this is meant to be one of my most fun series. But even though it is actually fan service, we still have to have a heart and a lesson somewhere. We just don't shove it down your throat. That happens to
Uh,
Sally and Sam, but not to you.
yeah, yeah. Let's with what you said with fan service. Have you been following the what's happening lately with censorships and stuff? Because
Yeah, your
everything's gone
country makes
crazy about
I'm
it.
very mad at your country right now, actually, because of that. Yeah, no, we've been keeping this has been happening for years. It's just now that something happened big enough to get attention.
Hmm.
They've been coming after small businesses now. We all have been talking about it. We've all keeping an eye on it. There's stuff going on in the U.S. Gov that would ban that from happening. That
Hmm.
means they could not discriminate for legal transactions, and we are supporting that effort to let that happen. We don't get involved with anything too heavily, but what we do care about is making sure we get the kind of content they want. We label all of our stuff clearly as 18 plus, minus pure intent. Pure intent, I say like a 14 plus, because if your kid can watch Demon Slayer, they can read. But Cremisi, not so much. Cremisi is 18 plus. SuccuBUSTED, Mr. Suzumi, and this are definitely 18 plus because of the content. And Manticore does get lewder than any of those other series, in that not in issue zero, but as the submissions go on, we do see sex scenes, see characters actually in the act. The rule remains the same of no visible penetration, so I'm not breaking my rules. And that exists in part because once you do that, that label applies to you permanently. And some of the artists that I work with would not be comfortable with the H tag next to them when they go talk to their clients or businesses. So we respect them and try to keep things within moderately tasteful. Still can be fun and sexy, but yes, and the people that are trying to shut all that down, we are very much adamantly against. Let people have their especially with us, because our characters are drawn, they're not real. They're not real people. We aren't trafficking anybody to make the content we make. These are drawn characters that are fictional. And if you want to get, if someone out there wants to really push the angle, I'll let you know that the sexiest characters I have were designed by women, not me.
Damn.
So what do you want to yell at me about? The whole process is dumb. We had to talk with some bigger creators about it on Kickstarter with Stripe, how they've been doing things, just ridiculous methods that they've been employing. Nobody's happy about it. We're fighting it. It seems like it's getting a lot of traction to fight it.
Mm.
I saw it happen to the UK in the same law. I don't know what's going to happen over there, but I hope our friends in the UK keep fighting against that. And over here, we're going to keep fighting it.
Yeah, I think I think with what you're doing and with the how it's surpassed the target, I think it's a testament to like yeah you're doing what you're doing and people are enjoying it.
That's been our argument for a while now. It's like if this for us is like I do this as my full time job, and a job has a market, and a market dictates what it wants via its financial decisions. If Toyota isn't selling any cars, but everybody's buying trucks, well, that Toyota dealership isn't going to stock that many cars anymore. They're going to stock mostly trucks. That's what they're selling. That makes sense. Basic business. That makes sense. Our etchies were people requested those more and they requested other things. I said, okay, well, let's lean more into that. That doesn't mean the other series are going away because Cremisi's not going away. That story, that's my passion project. It will be done. I might be 90 when it's done, but it will be done. Uh, I hope I'm not that old when it happens. Uh, it's
Okay.
but it's ridiculous that they are trying to go after these things. What will happen, as we're seeing now, is their stock goes down, their value goes down. Mastercard and Visa are already experiencing significant stock drops, and that's going to continue, I'm sure. Because when you tell people they can't spend money, well, then you don't make any money now, do you?
No, not at all.
So the answer to the question, we're very upset about it. We're keeping an eye on it, and we don't have billions of dollars to fight it. We don't have friends in Washington that can fight it. We're just trying to keep our heads above water.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's I think at our end the censorship bug is getting crazier and crazier, but yeah,
I've heard
I'm sure.
Australia's has gotten really bad.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what I've heard.
yeah,
Last I
yeah.
saw, they said that even certain anime content they wouldn't allow it across the border or to be imported into the country.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The H books they're not allowed. That's at a lot of bookstores because of yeah provocative content. So yeah, it's nuts.
There's
It,
jokes in here that I see. I'm like, I don't know if I should say. I don't know if I can make these jokes or not. But like Australia, you guys were a penal colony. Why do you care? As long as you're making money, what? How did you go from that to Puritans? What happened? Well, like I said, that's the thing about us, though. But
I
we deal with
I
the same
have
battles.
I have no idea. I don't blame. Don't shoot the middleman.
No, not at all. No, my old job, we did a lot of work in Australia. And Australians are usually very nice people. I always liked Australians.
Yeah,
Much more laid back, similar to us, but more laid back. The much more laid back version of the Americans, I think.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Whereas we're not very laid back over here. At least not where I'm at. Some places are, but not here.
So with your comic being with all factions and all races and stuff, is there a moment where you're gonna have to go like, okay, I'm gonna stop exploring these characters because there's a lot of mythical characters. So there has to be a point where you go like, okay, I got to stop.
Mm, a lot of it comes down to what can I do that makes sense in the universe with that character. So, give you an example, when we do encounter dragons, we learn that dragons do participate in the war, but they're mercenaries. They don't
Mm.
actively engage. They don't have us. They don't care whose side they're on. You paid me, cool. I'll do the thing you asked me to do. But dragons have different kinds of hordes, and so my twist to that was like, well, horde doesn't just mean money. Maybe you hoard dirty magazines. Maybe you hoard weapons. Maybe you hoard, collector's mugs from different taverns. What is it this dragon hoards? It can vary. So we
I
can
could
play
to-
with that to allow it to be interesting on something we may have seen before. We can keep moving in a new direction.
I could totally see like one dragon hoarding a bunch of snow globes and like this is from this is from this region of the war.
Yeah,
This
why
is from
not?
that region of the war.
Why not? I mean, why wouldn't they? There's little silly things we can do in this universe. I don't see a need to stop with the characters. There's definitely a thing of, don't try to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
uh, as I've seen some series attempt to do. Like this. At the same time, you have to make it where it's easily digestible.
Hmm.
If we have an entire species whose names are 47 syllables long, that may not applicable to a general audience. Well, that town is it Scotland has that town that's that long, or is it Wales where it's a massive thing? Or German has. I know German has a lot of words that are just like 20 syllables long with like
Uh,
one vowel in it.
I think that's crazy. Try East Asia. like especially
Yeah,
with
okay, that makes yeah, that makes sense. That would make s yes, my language teachers told me that East Asian and Turkish were the hardest languages to master. Okay, and
oh.
English is often considered also one of the hardest, and it is a difficult language.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when they get into stuff like prose and various grammatical rules and you're like, "Oh yeah." Yep.
There's a reason I have 2 editors, one of them is literally just a grammar guy. All he does is just make sure punctuation and grammar stuff is correct. The challenge from that becomes when you're writing dialogue, you have to keep in mind this is the way a person talks. So to what level of hardcore grammar do I use for the way this person's
Oh.
a great example, Shay does this, and now so does Cena in Manticore. They don't use ing, they use in with an apostrophe because they have a
Ah.
southern dialect. They have a various dialect doesn't do that. Cena's the elves in this are Cajuns, a subculture in the American South over in Louisiana. I have Cajun family and Cajun cooking. You guys never had Cajun food? You're in for a treat. It's amazing. Some of the best food you'll ever have in your life. Warning, it is spicy, but it is amazing. So it's a lot of just figuring it out how to make it all work together. Luckily, it's not that difficult with this one because of the fact that I've had so long to work on it. It's not this campaign was definitely terrifying. It's a new series that I don't have anything to respond to. But as far as the stories go, like, well, I've had years. This is not that hard to write. The second arc of SuccuBUSTED has proven way harder to write than this because I haven't had years to repair it. Manticore, SuccuBUSTED, Cremisi, Pure Intent. I've been working on those for 4 to 5 years apiece. So there's plenty of time to plan it all out. So it's not too difficult. That and I love this job, and it's nothing else. When you love something, it's a lot easier to deal with it.
Yeah, yeah. It becomes
My
second
cat,
nature. The
stop
cat.
attacking the chair. Yeah, you love something, it's easier to deal with. Doesn't mean it doesn't frustrate you though.
And what's also interesting about the promotion for this comic is you've got Eric Bra also involved in this project as well.
Yeah,
How did you get him involved in this?
luck. So I was pseudo annoying a young relative of mine, distant relative, but like, oh yeah, you remember Courage the Cowardly Dog? Yeah, I used to love Courage. Oh, cool. I met him and I was a guest next to him at a convention one time. Oh my God. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but it sounds really cool to a kid. Like, oh, that sounds amazing. To my godson, that sounds amazing. But to me, I'm like, well, circumstantial, kind of cool. Uh, I'm sorry, I had to check. Okay, we're good. I'm sorry.
That's
Please
good.
continue.
Yeah, so you had Eric Bra into so how did
Yeah,
you get him involved
uh,
in this project? So
that's what I mean is I get lucky. That's the point. I get lucky in meeting people. If I have one true talent, it's the ability to get people who are far more talented than myself to rally to a cause, apparently. I got lucky. This whole thing is when I used to work in video games, we had a voice actor working us who went by the handle of Zacton, who's now one of my close friends. And he had made a video about Draven from League of Legends, and Eric Bra had commented on it, and he got to talk to Eric from that. And I said, "Hey, I'm working for voice actors." And he goes, "Well, why don't you talk to this Eric Bra guy?" And I went, "Oh, wait, he's in these games. He's really cool. I'll talk to him." And I was expecting this, like, when Cremisi first started, we were going to make an emotion comic.
hmm.
And I asked Eric to play Shay. And I sent him a script. And we had a girl who played Alice. And we have a full on animated recording. I need to upload to YouTube. It might be there, actually. That is that pseudo motion comic with him talking and Alice having a conversation with animation. The problem is that was done in my naivety when I was like 20 and did not realize that, hey, animation can cost $5,000 per 1 minute of animation. Can you afford that? The answer is no. No, I cannot afford that. I couldn't do it then. I can't do it now. But Eric and I stayed close for that, and I've always respected that he did that for me. So I've always tried to pull him in and get him jobs and pay him to do stuff with me. And then I needed somebody to sing a song for the Manticore, and one of my editors is a professional musician. He plays in actual big symphonies and stuff all over the United States. And then he goes, "Well, I'll write the song for you." And then Eric sang it. It worked out. It just kind of got lucky that I knew Eric. We just kind of became friends and kind of really resonate with one another, and we get along quite well. It literally just a happenstance. I wish I could say there was like some great like Mortal Kombat match somewhere that we went to that we met through this epic adventure, but no, I just knew a guy that knew him and we ended up becoming friends. Which is not uncommon in this for it to happen that.
Did you know he was in League of Legends at one point?
Yeah,
Because it's
I knew about him from that because in college in college I played League with a friend, the same guy, the Zacton guy, and he mained Draven, and that's how I knew the voice. So that Draven voice is really good. I like that guy's voice. He's like, oh, I know the voice actor. What? Cool. Uh, and then I learned that Ezreal is Gohan. I was like, these guys show up everywhere. Uh, from that, when I did the Manticore, Eric wasn't in. He wasn't in. There was another character who is the character that Eric was. And then Eric did some stuff for me, and I went, "Dude, can I pay you?" He wouldn't let me pay him. He's such a generous, nice soul. He wouldn't let me pay him to do the song. I offered him money, he wouldn't take it. And I
Damn,
said, "Okay,
that's
well, tell you what, you're
great.
not gonna take money. I got to put you in the book." So I replaced that character with Eric, and I still feel kind of bad because the guy he plays, which is called Eric in the book, he's kind of a jerk to Sally. When you see him, he's kind of a hard ass, like pushing Sally around and yelling at Sally. But when you read the book, you realize Sally kind of deserves to be chewed out right now. This kind of needs to happen. Sally's a screw up. They need to be told, like, why are you out here doing narcotic potions instead of healing our people in battle when you're the healer? Why are you not doing your job? It'd be like if you're in the army and you got shot, you look over and the medics just sitting there smoking a cigarette, like, dude, help me. This is your job. You wouldn't approach that nicely. You'd be very upset with that person.
Oh yeah, especially when bullets are raining down on you and
Yeah, in your
bombs
middle of
are
battle, like, dude, get over here. Or I'm gonna kill you myself. Yeah, it's the same thing.
I- if Manticore does get animated, I would love to see Eric just do the voice with
I
him
would
just.
absolutely. I've promised him if I ever got a chance to have anything animated, which is a very unlikely thing to happen, but it's possible. It's just unlikely right now. Which there's a whole thing about studios not can't take risks anymore on new IPs. The whole myriad technology's gone faster than we've been able to adapt in
Yeah.
the industry.
Oh yeah, and
Uh,
now with AI and stuff like, oh.
it's getting worse. It's gonna. Well, luckily, people are fighting back against that one. Uh, on a caveat note, Manticore uses no AI whatsoever. We don't use ChatGPT. We don't. I don't even know what the hell that program looks like. 'Cause I've never even seen it. We don't use any of these AI art programs. The closest we've ever thought about for AI was to use them to describe an idea to give an artist a better reference,
Hmm.
and they would still be drawn by a real artist. That thing that would that amalgam that abomination that the AI spits out to give an idea of would never see the light of day. It would be deleted right after that.
Oh yeah.
But we haven't done that. Right now it's just me describing things and my very, very, very poor attempts at drawing what I'm trying to tell them.
Okay, okay. That's good though. Like, I mean, like I said, AI is just exploding out of nowhere, and yeah, it's good to see like the talent still making art.
We
Through.
don't work with that. I myself cannot draw, so we have
Yeah.
our company operates on the belief that if you are not putting food on an artist's table, you don't belong here.
Mm.
I take care of my artists. They get bonuses when things go well. They'll get bonuses from this book. I don't get a bonus. They do.
Yeah.
Because they matter, in my opinion, they matter more. Part of why I stepped away from this job. I don't like how things treat people. I want it to be better. You won't get rich doing that, and that's okay. I don't need to be rich. I just want enough to have a steak every now and then.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
simple. I understand
Uh.
Australia has good steak. I need to come down there and try a steak one day. Here you guys have really good ones.
Yeah, we used to have a steak place called Hog's Breath Cafe, but that closed down. So now I'm trying to figure out what's a good place to have steak, and it's hard. It's hard to find a good steak spot.
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say Outback is not on that list.
We
Yeah.
Yeah.
actually do have one of those here.
Wait,
Which
really? There's
one?
actually Outbacks in Australia?
Yeah,
I did not know that. Is it any good? Is it
I
like a
haven't
joke
been
or?
there. The only thing I remember liking when I went to one when I was in America was the blooming onion, though.
I was about to guess that. Yeah, everybody likes the blooming onion. That thing
But
is
It's
that.
it is pretty good.
Oh
basically
man.
onion rings. You can't go wrong with that.
Essentially, you just take an onion, split it up, and fry it, and then you eat it with some sauce, and it's fantastic. It's a simple concept, but it's tasty. That's kind of surprising because like I have colleagues that are from other countries, like, oh, I've had American food. We have a Burger King. I'm like, that is not American food. That's commercial American food, but that's not really what we do. You need to try grits or gumbo or
Oh,
a myriad of
gumbo.
other proper fried chicken, or there's a myriad of things that we could do here that are actual like American cuisine. That is not Burger King is not one of them.
Oh man. So speaking of food, have you tried all the foods in New Orleans? The with all the I remember there was a
No,
the
I've
one
never.
with home. Oh, sorry.
What is it? Go ahead.
There was a Simpsons episode I remember years ago where Homer tried all these cuisines in New Orleans, and
Mm.
it's someone tried it in real life, all the stuff that Homer ate, and man, it looked all
Ye-
good.
It's very tasty. It's not always super healthy, but it's very tasty. You get down there and you try, like I said, gumbo or shrimp creole or crawdad. I have Cajun family, so I growing up we had some of this. I've never been to New Orleans itself. Which, on a funny note for you, for the American South, we don't call it New Orleans. It's Nolans.
Ah, yeah, that's what I'm always
It's an,
wondered.
it's regional. It's a regional accent.
Ah.
So like if my family talks about it, I've never heard them say New Orleans. They go, "We're going to New Orleans." All right. Because my growing up in the South, we just there's certain things we do differently. Like how France has Notre Dame, but for us we have Notre Dame, which isn't in the South, but same concept
Ah,
applies.
okay, it's
If you
nice.
like spicy food, then you'll like Cajun. But warning, if it does tend to run pretty hot.
Oh, I've seen a couple of Cajun cooking stuff, and man, you guys cook big. You guys cook big.
Yeah, they well traditional Southern cooking across the board usually is a big meal. It's usually a lot of people, which is part of why we have health problems in the South right now because we're used to eating big fried foods, which isn't really healthy. If you ever you get a chance to try like actual authentic Southern fried chicken, they fry it in animal lard, and it is absolutely amazing, but it will kill you. Like don't eat it. Probably eat it like once every like 8 months at most, because it's just really not good for you at all. But it is delicious, beyond delicious.
Imagine visiting your doctor and like, "Hey, so what did you eat the other? What did you eat?
Yeah, no,
The
that happens here. I know I have family that had that problem. They're like,
oh,
"Yeah,
there.
it's heart problems." Yeah, because what did you eat for dinner? You had a bag of pork rinds, 2 pieces of fried chicken, fried okra. Yeah, that's just
Oh,
not healthy at all to eat it that way. And I'm the boring one. I'm the health nut, so everything I eat is air
and
fried or some kind of vegetable or something like that. Boring stuff.
oh, damn, damn. Let me guess. You, then your family says like, "Hey, come and eat this gumbo with us," and you be like, "No,
At a
I
point in
can't."
time, I haven't, I'm the only one left, so it's just me now. But growing up, there was Christmas. We did have a giant. It was a giant seafood like gumbos and low country boils and steamed clams, oysters, all of that. We were and for anybody going, oh, you must have been rich. No, we were poor. We had to go. We got all of those ingredients ourselves. We had to go out to the river and get them. So we
Oh,
went
that
out
must
and
have been fun.
we
Oh,
harvested oysters and caught shrimp and went out and hunted for deer and whatever else, and that would be part of that dinner. It wasn't going to the store and buying those ingredients; they're expensive. We didn't have money; we had to go out and physically go get it.
that must have been fun though. I mean, honestly, like,
No, being on a boat in the middle of the winter, covered in water, reaching over and grabbing bushels of oysters is not fun when you're 10 years old. It's not fun at all. It's cold,
yeah, but it's
very cold
adventurous
and
though.
dirty.
But
Oh, it
it's
makes a good story now, but at the time you're like, I really just want to be inside playing 4. Can I just go play Mario Kart? I don't want to do this. But when it came time to eat, you were thankful you did it.
yeah. Fair enough, fair enough. Most hours you've ever spent on a page.
Probably 2 or 3. Yeah, 2 or 3. I have to not that's like a weird actor thing. I have to kinda like, quote, unquote, "get in the zone."
Hmm.
So, my to get myself to that state might be going through a page for, like, 2 or 3 hours, and then once that kicks, it's not that I'm not thinking what to do, it's like, I just wanna make sure I digest this properly and envision this right, and after that's done, I go, "Okay," it just the script just happens. Just I can that I can just lightning through it.
Okay. DIY marketing hack that actually worked.
If you're doing a convention, research what city that convention is in and figure out what kind of crowd's gonna show up.
Okay.
But that being said, I've been surprised before. But if I'm going to a show in places that have a place where a lot of gay people go to the con, well, I'm gonna have my pride covers on that table because I know this is the environment that wants that. If I'm doing a con in some backwoods town probably not in like Gainesville. I may not have cover on the desk. It depends. Just to do it yourself is just market, do a little research on where you're going to be and who it is you want to sell it to.
Okay. Prince Run horror story. Go.
Trade books are annoying.
Oh,
I
you got a
don't
story?
like doing the trade books because they are very prone to getting banged up on the way here.
Oh,
They are more
damn.
fragile than a regular comic. So every time we do trades, about 50% of them that come in the first batch will be destroyed. And the printer, I love my print shop's amazing. They replace them; they're fantastic. But we show them it's damaged and we destroy it, and they send us new ones at no cost to us. But yeah, that's one reason I try to avoid doing them is because like I know it's going to cause delays because I know some of them are going to be messed up, which isn't the printer's fault. I've talked to people that work for have other printers, and they always say, "Yeah, trades are going. If anything's going to get beat up, it's going to be the trades."
Ink stains. Badge of honor or nightmare.
Never had that problem.
Okay.
Can't say.
Okay. Character that got away, as in never. It was never published.
To an extent, Sally and Manticore, because Sally was a cut Cremisi character. Sally was supposed to be in Cremisi, and it's in the original writings for Cremisi and all the original scripts. And Sally got cut from Cremisi because it would have taken too long to go into that arc and explain who this person was and why they were relevant.
Okay.
So they got cut. So part of why Sally's in the Manti-Corps is because we had a character design lying around that wasn't being used, and it's cheaper to modify a character than it is to make a new one. So we have somebody we can use. So that one, if you go back to the original Cremisi, there are a couple of pinups that we have. At least 3 of them have characters who were supposed to show up in the story that did not show up. That will never show up in Cremisi because they got cut for time.
Oh damn. Ever killed off a character because you were pissed?
No. Usually if I'm gonna kill somebody, a character, so the FBI listening, not real life, uh, I'm gonna think about it a lot first. Like how if there's a random goon, whatever. Like, these are the random thugs. That's their job is to get knocked around. We all seen that, like in the Batman cartoon, superhero cartoons. You can just go down to the store and buy 20 thugs to come do your bidding for you.
Hmm.
So you'll have that. But as far as like killing a named character, that happens. It does happen in several stories. Kind of have to think about it. It's like, well, they need to die, but at the same time, the death need to leave. It's a long process of how you want the person to die. I was never a fan of the long, drawn out explanation of like there's the die. The character's like been stabbed, and then they have 20 minutes now to tell you their entire backstory and everything they're really about, and that you sympathize. No, I like the Gundam way of like, hey, I like this character. They just exploded. They're gone. Just
Oh.
instantly. It's over. They're dead. Yeah, I kind of prefer that.
Yeah, I had that moment as well with Iron Blooded Orphans when there's like, oh, my favorite character. Oh, he's dead.
That's a
Damn it.
perfect one that does that. "Oh, you like this person? Yeah, he just got blown up immediately, like, just he's just dead."
Oh,
But there was
yeah.
no, like there was no justification. "No, he's in a war no, he's in a battle, he just blew up, it happened.
Yep.
Sorry." Like, "Yeah, okay."
Yep. Yeah, I've got some itchy fantasy adventure questions as well, so bear
Alright.
with me. Um, who's the party member that absolutely causes HR issues?
That'd be a combination of Sally and Cena.
Oh yeah? Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they're both bad about that. There are 2 horn dog characters. So Cena goes into this series when you read issue 0, she will I think it's issue 0 she complains about it. She complains her adventures aren't sexy. She
Hmm.
wants to have sexy adventures. So she's going to look for them when she goes on adventures to what she can do. And usually, generally speaking, it's not really when someone it's written to where they can have a fifth squad member show up for a mission they go on. The person who can a guest party member essentially. HR wouldn't want you hitting on the guest party member, but she's going to do it, and so will Sally. And we will find them both in compromising positions time and time again as the series goes on.
Was it that term? Don't do where you eat.
There is. I was asked about this when we announced this. The squad does not sleep with one another. I didn't want an inter team. That I didn't want to do that. So instead, it's guest characters, people they run into along the missions, not one another. Now they may brag to one another they did certain things. But there's one of the issues later on. I won't spoil too much, but Cena asks Sally why Sally slept with a character, knowing that the person was evil, and Sally's response is she had the biggest boobs of any human I've ever seen. It's that simple. You know what? Fair.
Fair, fair, fair. Which character would win? And I quote: "Most likely to have a secret OnlyFans."
Cena and Sally would have it, but they'd tell everyone. The intelligence officer.
Well, okay.
Currently unnamed, but we'll see much more of her, literally and figuratively, as the series goes on. So definitely her.
Which fan reaction made you realize you went too far or not far enough?
I've never really had one either way. The one I did get, and I don't know if this person makes satirical or not, when we had to announce that we could no longer show genitalia on our covers due to the crackdowns from Stripe over on Kick. Someone did say, I'm not buying a book doesn't have nipples on it. And I don't know if that person was serious or if they were poking fun at the action. I don't know. That's the only reaction I've ever gotten, something like that. And I hope they weren't serious because that decision is beyond my power.
Fair, fair enough. And I will end it with one more question.
Well, I've got one for both of you.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm honored. Uh, what spell would your characters cast purely for chaos?
Sally would freeze things. You
Okay.
know what? No, Sally would intentionally spill water in her room and freeze it just so that the hot goblin girl in there would slip and go face down. That's the thing that Sally would do, and a goblin would be into that anyway. Everybody's having a good.
Fair
We
enough.
don't do the non we don't do non-con stuff here. That's not what we're about. We're about everybody having fun and good characters in their own way.
Fair enough. All right. Okay. Fire away with your question to us,
For
Isaac.
both of you, what is your definition of wealth?
Okay, now that's a deep question.
That's a hard question, but
Yeah.
it's a very important question.
We
You
could
can
be
tell
here for a
everything.
while discussing the philosophy of it. But I think my
Someone's answered
definition
to
of
that.
wealth,
Go ahead, sir.
my definition of wealth would be To be healthy and happy.
That's a good definition. I like that one. And you, Mr.
Uh,
DJ Fly, what's your definition of wealth?
Damn. A definition of wealth would be the capability I mean, sorry, let me rephrase that. The capability of sharing to people that you enjoy the good times with.
As well. There you go. You guys got it. There you go. There's no right or wrong answer. It can be anything. Some people say
Uh,
it's just money. Like, well, maybe that is your definition of wealth. It varies from person to person.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean that's the thing though. Like once you get a lot of money, the problem with it is how you are you gonna share it or are you gonna keep it because because
Nobody shares it apparently, but
yeah, no,
not that. Well, apparently there are ones who do. We just don't hear about them. Some billionaire I read about bought a logging company in the Amazon, and he terminated the company and just reserves that land now to be safe for the wildlife in the Amazon. Like, you don't hear about that story. Why is that not on the front page of the news? Oh, because it doesn't sell. That's why.
nah.
Sure, but and to answer my own question, the definition of wealth is the ability to never be
That is also true. Yeah, that is also
gone hungry
true.
in my lifetime. I know it changes your perspective on a lot of things when you can't afford
Yeah,
food. You definitely changes your mentality. And this will sound evil. I think everyone should know what that's like. It's very educational.
yeah. Okay, okay. All right.
You don't know what
And
that's like. A
love
lot of
that.
food.
Like the cat's hungry right now. I'm
No,
assuming.
he has plenty of food. I just gave him a dish. He's fine. He's just a goblin.
All right. Anyways, on that note, we should end our episode. And before we end our episode, we'd like to let our viewers know that this episode is sponsored by Res. It's a energy drink that gives you focus and gives you a lot of energy for the long game. It is crafted from traditional herbs and quality extracts. It relieves fatigue and eye strain, supports eye health, support mental endurance and stamina to give you hit points in real life. And for our supporters of this show, we've partnered with Res, and if you type out the code word nerds at the checkout, you will get a 10% discount. 10% discount goes a long way. Ain't that right, Professor?
Yeah, it's definitely better than no discount at all.
So check it out at www.drinkrez.com and just type out nerds at the checkout and you'll get a 10% discount. Anyways, on that note, that's all we have for this week. Stay happy, stay nerdy. See you guys.
Thanks for
Oh,
joining us again, Isaac. Look forward to having you on
What
next
do you
time
promise
you've got a
me?
project to launch.
yeah, and tell our viewers where they can find you and
Oh, you're still recording. Uh,
yeah.
we're on the major social media networks, most Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook, AT Foxy Comics with two X's, I think. That being said, Twitter we don't use much anymore since they said no matter what you do, they're going to use their AI to scan your work. So we just don't participate in it a whole lot. More so Blue Sky, Instagram, and Facebook these days. But the best place to find us is at foxycomics.com with two X's, our website, or you can go over to Kickstarter and look for Astral Ticket Comics on there and you'll find us. And that's the best place to get our exclusives. We don't offer them anywhere else.
Oh, awesome. All right. See you guys.
Here